Hello, YouTubers out there. This is Jerry Saravia at the movies. So today I'm talking about something that's really kind of trivial, but I thought I would talk about it, and I think I need to before the end of this year, before I do some of my other videos coming up. So this one is a curious one. It has to do with a little-known movie called Game of Death 2. Which was released, I believe, in America in 1981. I'm not sure if it was ever shown in a theater in the United States, but to the best of my knowledge, the original title was actually Tower of Death. And this was supposed to be technically the last film to feature Bruce Lee, which of course it did not. In fact, it really is just footage taken from his 4 other kung fu films. So it's one of those things. They try to fashion a whole story around it. And anyway, Game of Death 2 has, it's about Billy Lowe, who was his character from Game of Death, and he's back, and the entire film, I believe, takes place in Japan, or at least it was shot in Japan. Anyway, we're not here really to discuss the story of this movie, although it's allegedly a sequel. The alternate title was Tower of Death, which actually this whole movie resembles more of an Enter the Dragon clone. But a very entertaining one. I mean, it's sort of a really good, bad movie. I mean, it's better than most good, bad movies that I've seen. It's really ridiculous, the whole thing. But leaving that aside, we're here to talk about something rather subtle, and it may have no meaning, or it might. I really don't know for sure. So, there's one shot in this film where the character of, I guess it's Bobby Lowe, Billy Lowe's brother, stares up at the wall and sees these pictures of his brother Billy Lowe, who had just died in the film, I think about half an hour to 40 minutes into the movie. So this way they can dispense with having any more Bruce Lee stuff and feature this other actor, who I think had passed away a few years ago. And he was a double for, I can't remember the guy's name right now. He was in No Retreat, No Surrender, for those of you who like really bad films that are not good at all. That came out in 1985. He plays Bruce Lee, interestingly enough, the ghost of Bruce Lee. Anyway, leaving that aside, he looks up at the wall and he sees these pictures. So they are of Bruce Lee. And one of them features Bruce Lee wearing a white tracking suit with black stripes. Now, I first saw this movie, I think it was on Channel 5 in New York back in the 1980s. And it was on a Saturday. So they used to show a lot of the kung fu and karate pictures in the afternoons on a Saturday. So I caught this one, and that kind of caught my eye, but you didn't really see too much of, because a lot of films in those days were cropped for television or pan and scanned or whatever, so you weren't really seeing the full frame. So you only saw the bottom of his neck. And as you can see in this picture here, this is the full frame of it, widescreen. But you only saw the bottom of his neck, so I couldn't quite make out, like, wait a minute, what is that? And I remember noticing that. And I think I was recording the movie as it was playing, so I went back, and I couldn't quite catch what this was. And I thought, wait a minute. And at that point, I was sort of discovering really Bruce Lee completely. I didn't really know too much other than having seen Enter the Dragon back in the 70s. I started to rediscover Bruce Lee. I think it was a videotape at one time that was called Bruce Lee Fights. And it's just him fighting from Fists of Fury, Chinese Connection, and Return of the Dragon. And it has a really good electronic synthesizer score. It was really quite good. But anyway, then eventually I saw the films, although not completely unedited, naturally, especially Fists of Fury, which was probably the most violent film of his original 3 kung fu films, anyway, that he made in Hong Kong. But this kind of caught my eye, and I said, wait a minute, what is it? Is that a white tracking suit? Like, where's that from? And I knew about Game of Death, and eventually I saw Game of Death, which was on late at night, I think, on a weekend. Interestingly enough, they played it. And I knew it was a yellow tracking suit that he wore. So I'm looking at this and I'm saying, and at that time, I don't believe that Bruce Lee's yellow tracking suit really became quite iconic like it is now, especially after Tarantino's film Kill Bill. I'm sure people like the tracking suit, but I guess my point is it really became more and more popular as the years went on, but not so much in 1983 or 84 when I saw this film. So this is the picture, and I don't understand it. Why is he wearing a white tracking suit? Now, here's another picture of Bruce. This is the original picture of him in that same pose, and it's a yellow tracking suit. So why on earth did they feature this picture in here and have it be a white tracking suit? Why is that, with black stripes? I just don't get it. So I don't know. I think I've heard the commentary for this film from Roy Horan, I believe, if that's how you pronounce it, who plays a martial artist in the film, but they didn't mention this. So, Bruce Lee fans, please, out there, tell me, what do you know about this? This is a very odd thing. Where's this coming from? Why is it white? Why do they do this? Now, there could be one reason, which is because if you look, there are black and white pictures from Game of Death. So it could be that they didn't want to allude too much to Game of Death, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense considering it's the same character, or could be also this: why would there be pictures if it's a sequel to Game of Death? Who's taking photographs of Bruce Lee fighting the villains in Game of Death and then have these pictures here? That's the only thing I can think of. So it could be one of two reasons: copyright, or because they didn't want to show him in the yellow tracking suit. But they could have shown, obviously, any other pictures but those. So what was really the point? I don't know. This is very strange. So if anybody out there knows what's going on, let me know. And that's all I got to say about that. Just one of those odd things I thought I should discuss. And this is Jerry Saravia at the Movies, signing off.